Morning, guys. Day 356. Getting up there, that is for sure. Pretty good night. I think the cherry definitely did its stuff, and I was feeling pretty bad just from the volume of stuff last night. Felt like a beach balloon letting out air, if you know what I mean. But this morning, I can flex the toe for the first time in like 3 weeks. The swelling is way down, and this morning is the first time the foot isn't beet red. So, digging that. That's cool. It was kind of throbbing a bit. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep overnight, so it's late morning now. I'm just getting up. And already I'm going through my emails here in bed, or there in bed. It's already going to be one of those days getting, it's Tuesday after a holiday, so it's really like a Monday, and now I got a short week. And wow, my jasmine's really taken off. Oh, sorry. Already getting emails. It's going to be one of those days. I got an email from one of the website clients that for 3 weeks I've been waiting on data for that they wanted. They're like, okay, yeah, it looks awesome. We just want this one particular thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Send me the pictures for it and we'll call it good. And then nothing. And then today, what's the holdup on the website? Are you kidding me? So, gotta take care of that. And then, this always happens, this one particular client who's flying a banner on my cigar site. I mean, this is like the third time this has happened. Where's the banner? It was supposed to be up a few days ago. You never paid for it, dude. I'm not giving you credit. And then they say, oh, well, this other banner's flying, and it wasn't supposed to be up till 2 weeks from now. This is exactly why with this one particular client, I clarify. I email them ahead of time. I say, just to clarify, could you tell me what date this is supposed to start? What date that's supposed to start? Blah, 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 blah. I'd let them know. I haven't received payment for this. I haven't received payment for that. And I go by exactly what they say. I put it in the system, automate it. There's no mistake. So now I have to email them back and say, look, I'm following your instructions. Here's your email. Bam. And you never paid me for this. Bam. So, I got this automated system for the banners because it was supposed to be easier. I was dealing with these kinds of problems all the time between not getting payment, dates being shifted, people wanting different lengths of time, chasing payment. Oh my God, that was the big one. I mean, nobody wanted to pay for anything. Companies are cheap, man. But they would expect their advertisement to be up and then we'll get around to paying you when we feel like writing a check. And it's like, nah, forget it. So I got this automated system and they can make payments, they can do PayPal, and they get automated thing that says, hey, click this to renew. Nobody uses it. Nobody. I mean, it's a nice system, but it's completely worthless because these damn clients don't use it. They still don't want to pay. So they let the things lapse and expire, and then they go down, and then weeks or a month goes by, and they're like, hey, where's our banner? You ignored all the automatic emails that say, hey, your banner's expiring in 4 weeks. Hey, your banner's expiring in 2 weeks. Hey, your banner's expiring next week. They just, oh, I never got them. Yeah, bullshit. But you get this email. Isn't that amazing? So, whatever. Yep. I was going to go for a walk early this morning because I happened to be up. And, man, I got my clothes on, and I was just about to walk out the door, and I'm just like, oh, I'm finally tired. So I went right back to bed and caught a few more hours. It's a good thing I did, because, man, I needed it. I crashed hard this morning, just catching up. I'll do that sometimes, sometimes it'll be a 3-4 hour night, and then some days it'll just catch up to me in 8-10 hours, and it just feels so good. Well, this morning was pretty much one of those. Got about 8 hours last night total. It was like 3 hours in between, but that's not bad at all. Really nice warm day out. I got the furnace is still on because last night was really cold. It was our big low blast that came in. It was down into the 40s, and now today it's back up into the 80s. And tonight's supposed to be decent, but a little cooler. Tomorrow, let's see, today's here, Thursday, 2 more days, I have my next live show, and it's going to be at night, and I got 2 people coming over. I'm not getting another heater again. This roof is still buckled there. I got to put some self-adhesive sealing strips on after they do their thing with that roof, because I don't know if this is going to get messed up or whatever. But when I had broomed off the 25 gallons or so, the seam did just slowly start dripping. It doesn't drip normally in a rain, but it's definitely open, so I'll take care of that some other time. But yeah, I'm definitely not getting another heater. We'll just have to suck it up, put on coats, and that's just the way it is. I was thinking about, since I have to redo this room, making it like some smokable studio room. But in order to do that, I would have to really completely seal off the windows that are between the old external wall of the house, which now go into the master bedroom, and the interior sliding door. And there's just no easy way to do that, because I don't want the smell at all getting in the house. So kind of axed that idea. I'll still stick out here on the patio for all the shows and the videos and everything, but that would be really useful to have an interior room. The other thing is it's not air conditioned because it's not tied into the HVAC system. So in the summertime, it's brutal in there, and I would absolutely have to have AC, and that's just like a ton more money. That's just not worth it. So, whatever. So that's what's going on so far. And if I feel, we'll see how it feels once I'm up and around for a little bit. But at the end of the afternoon, maybe I'll go for a little walk. I don't know. I don't want to, damage it, but a little exercise is good. So we'll see. Oh my God, that reminds me. I just remembered I had a horrible nightmare that I was like 350 pounds. I looked in the mirror and I was like pear-shaped. Weird. That's like the first bad dream about my weight I've had. Wonder why. Maybe I really was feeling like a beach ball last night from that juice and everything. Weird. I want to give you guys a little tech tip here to hopefully save you guys some money and some grief. If any of you have ever had lost pictures from your digital camera, or specifically your storage card, there are some things that can help prevent that, and some things that can really trigger it happening. As many of you know, I provide a lot of tech services and help to a lot of local photographers in the area. And something that unfortunately is very common that I hear and help out about is, help, my card is corrupted, I can't get my pictures off of it. Usually after shooting an event or a wedding or portrait session or something where it's important and they need to get the pictures off intact. And there are some very common things that cause it, and unfortunately it's not very common knowledge, but stuff that can be easily avoided. The number one cause of it, in my opinion, is using the delete button on the camera. When you have a bunch of pictures, you might say take 100 pictures. Maybe there's a few in the middle you don't want, and it's tempting to go to those, play them on the back of the camera, and press the delete button to get rid of them. Gives you a little bit more space back. That is really bad stuff. Okay, the compact flash or the SD card, or whatever your camera is using, is not that smart. You run the risk of having data corruption every time you do that. The smart and safest way to use these is simply to fill it up, take the files off to your computer, and then put it back in the camera. Never do anything with the files as far as formatting or deleting in the computer. Also, as soon as you put the card in the camera, format it in the camera. Stick it in, go to your menu, hit format. What that does is it lays out everything on the card exactly as that particular camera likes to see. And that's really important because the data likes a certain file system flow. When you mix things between doing things in the camera and doing things in the computer, for example, some people will put their card in the computer and then go to File Manager or Finder and delete things off of there, move things around, use it as a temporary storage device. You're asking for trouble because the card is not meant to be used that way. I know it seems like it should be, but it's just not. You do run the risk of data corruption by doing that. So in today's example, I had another emergency, like, can't get these pictures off from the shoot. She says as soon as I put it in the camera or put it in the computer, it says cannot read. And fortunately, most of the time, as long as you do not use that card at all past that point, it's very possible to get those pictures off very inexpensively. There are certain programs out there. There's one from SanDisk and there's one from EaseUS. Both of those do an excellent job. If you bought certain SanDisk cards, you get a copy free. If you have to buy it, it's only like 30 or 40 bucks. And they do a very good job of pulling any files off that may have been lost or corrupted. But you cannot use that card and take new pictures. You cannot reformat it. You cannot try to do anything to it. Just leave it alone. If you have an error with a card, don't touch it until you're ready to use the recovery software. Very important. Unfortunately, this photographer didn't know that either, and not only took new pictures, but reformatted it, and yeah, that really diminishes your chances of getting anything back off of it. It's not impossible, but you're probably not going to get everything at that point. But her workflow was totally screwed up too. Every time she would put the card in, she would manually delete every picture on it and then format it. Not only is that redundant, but using that delete button is just, I mean, it should be labeled screw up your card button. Seriously. Just forget that button exists on your camera. It's that bad. Just don't touch it. Ignore it. It doesn't exist. Put tape over it. I don't care. If you could disable it in the camera menu systems, that would be awesome, but you can't. It's just bad, all right? But she was deleting so if she had 1,000 photos on her card, she would sit there and hit delete 1,000 times and then format it. It's like, oh, she didn't know what format did. So unfortunately, this kind of stuff is just not common knowledge, even for photographers. I don't know why. So anyway, that was today's little emergency venture. So take away from this, do not use a delete button. Your workflow, even if you're an amateur, you don't have to be a professional. Take the card, put it in the camera, hit format. Take your pictures, take the card out, put it in the camera, put it in the computer, transfer them to the computer, take the card out. Next time you put it in your camera to use it, format it. Every time you stick a card in a camera, the first thing you should do is turn it on and then format it. Then you can use it. That should be your workflow every single time. Do not store things on it. Do not use it as a thumb drive. Do not move anything around with it. Don't use it as a drive, okay? It's just transport. Takes your stuff in the camera and puts them to the computer. That's it. One big operation or nothing. Just treat it that way and you will be golden. All right, well, an update, winding the day down here. I'm not going to do a walk on the foot yet. It's swollen back up. I didn't take any ibuprofen until just now. I wanted to see what it was going to do on its own without that kick of the anti-inflammatories in there. And it's definitely not back to normal. It's going in the right direction, so I'm not complaining. But I do need to keep that swelling back down. I can still flex the toe a little bit here. That's about it. But hey, that's more than I could before. So that's good. And it's still got normal color, so it's not super inflated like it was even yesterday. But yeah, I do need to keep that swelling down, and walking on and flexing the joint is not good for it. So need to get that at least feeling normal before I do any extended walking. That's what I think really set me back, was that one day I had to go out and do all the running around and everything when it was bad. It's important that when you have an acute breakout like that, that you really nip it in the bud, because everything compounds. That I've never had it last this long. I mean, even the very first time, this is just annoying at this point. Like I said, pain's not bad today at all. I think the cherries really knocked down the levels of the acid. I don't feel the crystals at all. There's no sharp pain. It's just stiff and really sore, and it still feels like there's a golf ball inside, just from the swelling. So hopefully tomorrow it's even better. So far, so good there. But man, today has been freaking crazy. These long weekends, you come back, oh my God, it's like 2 Mondays in one. I'm just now, after 4 solid hours, caught up with the emails and wedding inquiries and everything that's come in today. It's just nuts. And what the heck is with brides waiting until the last second? This happens every year. Every single spring, usually right after Valentine's Day. although I don't think there's a tie into Valentine's Day, but this is the time frame this happens. Last minute wedding inquiries. And it happens for all vendors, not just photographers. I've had 3 today for this March. That's less than 2 weeks away. And people are still trying to book their vendors. I mean, that's just nuts. You're lucky to find somebody that isn't booked at this point, number one. And number two, you get them that they're still being cheap. Like this one today, I know she's not going to book and I don't care because she wanted 2 hours of coverage on a Saturday in March. No, that's prime time. Even if I did have it open, I'm not going to waste that possible day where I could book a 10-hour wedding on some little tiny 2-hour gig. If it's a Friday, if it's a Sunday, if it's a weekday, sure, no problem. I'll have flexibility there. The chances of booking that are much lower. But no, a prime time day, anywhere from March to October, that is prime wedding season down here. You have the locals getting married earlier and later in the year for the nice weather because, well, we know how to do it right. We're not inexperienced enough to know that or to do it during the summer. But then during July, August, and September especially, we've got a lot of outer towners. You know, there's summer vacation, so people can fly down. But most of them, they're just so freaking ignorant of how intense the sun is down here during the summer. So I've actually contemplated stopping all summer beach weddings because it really wears you down. You're standing out there in the sun for 2-3 hours of the day. Usually they're dumb enough to do it and make their ceremony at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's just like, it's a lot of people from the Midwest, the East Coast, just general up north, the Midwest, even out west. Like I had this one couple from Iowa, very nice couple, but they decided they wanted to get married on the water. So they booked a catamaran cruise and they had their wedding party fly in. It's not that big of a catamaran. It's made for, just sunset cruises and they give you a couple cocktails. Neither one of them had ever been on a boat before. I mean, there's no water. You would think you would wonder if you're going to get seasick on a boat before you book your wedding on it. Well, they didn't. They never tried it. And sure enough, 5 minutes out of port, the groom is puking in a bucket until we got back 2 hours later. He was green. He barely had enough stamina to stand up, say I do, and then that was his wedding. Wow, that's a great time, guys. But these northerners, man, they come down and, oh, my dream is to have a beach wedding in Florida. It's awesome. I'm going to book it for August 20th. When it's 100 degrees, beating down, hitting you, getting sunburned, all your guests are out there sweating like pigs because usually they're not from here, so they're freaking dressed in suits and stuff. I mean, come on, guys. At least ask ahead of time what you should do. They're all dying. Nobody is happy. The bride and the groom, they rush through it. They're sweating like pigs. The pictures look like shit. It's like, God. And it's no fun for vendors either. I mean, usually we have a DJ or some live music standing out on the beach. Usually some steel drummers or, maybe a video guy. We have to suffer through it. There's no shade or anything. They want a beach wedding and they get it. And their hair goes crazy. The brides are just looking like a drowned rat by the time they're done. They can't wait to get the ceremony over. It's just like, ask vendors first. I understand the intent, but the realistic point of view is don't do it. Just don't do it. None of the locals do it. They're not that dumb. We know better. But anyway, a lot of last minute stuff coming in. Yeah, it's just, I just don't get it. If you know that your wedding is coming up, usually several months or a year or two at the most ahead of time, anyone watching, book your vendors early, a year in advance. That is the normal endpoint. All right. Just be a little more realistic about it because you're going to have a hard time finding good vendors that are open if you wait till the last minute. All right, that's it. That's my advice and rant for the day. I will see you guys tomorrow.